Hello! Okay, before this video starts, I need to address the elephant in the room. If you don't care, here's your timestamp, you just go to that. Anyway, it's been about a month since I've uploaded. To be honest with you, I don't really have an excuse. I was just procrastinating really badly, that's all it was. But I'm back. I can't promise that I'm back to stay though. I can't promise that I'm back to stay, but I'll try my best. Also, if I sound different in this video, it's because I'm a little under the weather right now. I'm fine though. Anyway, let's get into the video. The first tip you need to know is it's important to know your perks, but it's also just as important to know your enemies' perks too. When you're playing a game of Dead by Daylight, you'll notice things happening in the game that aren't a part of the killer's power. Knowing these things will help immensely, and being able to take mental notes of them throughout the game is going to help you a lot. Obviously, just like survivors, killers can have 4 perks. For example, when the match starts, you may notice that the generators are blocked by the entity. That is corrupt intervention. If you go down in one hit after the generators are all complete, it's no one escapes death, or NOED. If the killer vaults a window and it blocks, that's bamboozle. If the killer hits you and you drop your item, that's Franklin's demise. And so on. There are 90 killer perks, so this will take time. It really helps to watch talented and skilled survivors play and commentate on what they're doing. So a good place to go for that would be the hardcore challenges. JRM, Aaron, Artstarva, and Dowsy have a series that they do called the Hardcore Survivor Challenge. It's pretty interesting to watch because they will give each other callouts that give away a lot of what they're thinking during the game, and it helps a lot on what you should be thinking during your games. The second tip that's really important to know is it also really helps to know each killer and what each killer's power is. Not only knowing what each killer's power does and how it works, but also how to counter it. I have an entire video going over every single killer up to the Onryo and explaining how they work and how to counter them. Fortunately, the thing about this game is you really only have to learn a few things because a lot of killers are actually very similar to each other. So like ranged killers, stealthy killers, fast killers. If you learn different techniques and strategies that work well against certain types of killers, you can apply those to other killers that kind of work similarly, and then those strategies should also work similarly. So for example, the Huntress and Nemesis are very similar when it comes to pallets. They'll both react the same. They'll both respect the pallet and then they'll pull up. And if you don't know what that means, again, recommend watching, content creators because they'll explain these things in their games when it happens. Once you know strategies that work against different types of killers, whenever new killers come out, you'll already be able to figure out your own way of countering them. By the way, I want to stop these tips just to go ahead and say a lot of this game is just game knowledge. Having a lot of knowledge about the game, the maps, the killers, the perks, the items, there's so much that goes into knowing aspects of the game, and it helps a lot, but it does take time to learn these kinds of things. And it takes even more time to be able to identify these really small, minor details that may change the course of the game in the heat of the moment. So it takes time and it takes practice. Just know that. Alright, tip number 3, know your loops. You need to know how to use different loops efficiently. So for example, TNLs, these are called TNLs because from the top down they look like the letter T and the letter L. You want to take vaults from the inside of the TNLs like you see here, unless the killer cuts you off. And then you want to reroute to make up for that. I'm sure you've heard this before if you've watched any other beginner tutorial, but when you take a loop, you want to take it as tight as you can to try to get the most value out of each loop that you possibly can. If you guys want, I can make an entire video just going over every loop that exists in the game and how to loop each one, but I know that other people have done that, and I wouldn't want to just copy. I don't know, let me know in the comments, okay? But it is just very important to be able to effectively and correctly survive chases against a killer, since that is literally the point of the game. Tip number 4, know your own perks and how to use them. For example, bringing Deliverance and Off the Record is a good combo because you can escape the hook on your own and you have invulnerability for a few seconds after you get off the hook. It's a perfect anti-camp combo, but it doesn't have to just be perks. You can bring Iron Will and a flashlight, so if someone goes down, you can hide and get the flashlight save without the killer hearing you. Even after the Iron Will nerf, if you just, stay a little farther away, maybe even put on sprint burst so you can sprint over there. There's also perks that combo with a med kit to make the med kit heal faster So it doesn't always have to just be perks. It can be perks and items that work together. I'm gonna go ahead and list off a few good combos just as some more examples. Plunder's Instinct and Ace in the Hole. And then you could throw on Appraisal or Residual Manifest. What that would do is it's not really a build you would want to use if your main focus is surviving and winning, but it's more about getting items and wasting time not doing the main objective. But it's still a really good build, and it's good if you're trying to stock up on items and get extra blood points. Another combo is Unbreakable and Tenacity. So you can recover quickly, you can recover fully, and you can recover while you're crawling, and you crawl faster. You could also throw Power Struggle onto that and Flip Flop to get an entire build, and it's all about using a pallet when you're down on the pallet when the killer picks you up, so that you pretty much just get an instant free decisive strike. It's a perfect anti-slug build. But there's many more perks and combos in this game, and it takes time to learn them all. I will always recommend that the best thing you can do, and I've said this a couple times in this video already, I've said this in other videos, best thing you can do to get better at the game is to watch, or any game, is to watch talented content creators and listen to the callouts they're making. When you want to get better at baseball or football or soccer, you watch professional baseball, professional football, professional soccer. You don't want to just try to figure it out on your own. You want to get help from people who know what they're doing. When you're learning an instrument, you want to get help from a coach. That's why you're here. I'm your coach. But when it's a game like this, Dead by Daylight, and it's so heavily reliant on game knowledge, that takes a lot of experience, and you can pick up a lot of that from just watching content creators. There's also a countless amount of videos made specifically to show off a certain build or a strategy. So like Probs, that's all he does. Well, I don't know if that's all he does, but that's most of what he does. He'll just make a video specifically designed around one build, and he'll only use that build for the whole video, just trying it out and seeing what he can do with it. That will help you learn a lot about perks and combos. All right, I've made my points. It's time to go back into hibernation for another month. But before I do, I'm gonna give you 33 seconds to like this video and subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys a lot for, everything, I guess. And I hope to see you again. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. I love you.